For the next hour, the green and gold are in charge. Welcome to In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle is brought to you by Mole Lake Casino Lodge and Conference Center. Now, here's Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
Packers have a nice Thanksgiving holiday break, and we'll get back to practice again tomorrow after taking the last 4 days or so off. BJ, how's your Thanksgiving week?
It went pretty well. I had some time off. I got a chance to go to Ryan Pickett's house for dinner, so just imagine how much food was there. But other than that, I had a good time.
You didn't leave hungry, in other words, huh?
Oh, not at all, not at all. I should have took some pictures for you guys to see.
Big turkey, 6 legs.
Let's just say there was multiple kinds of meats, different desserts. It was a true defensive line Thanksgiving.
All right, sounds good. All right, let's welcome our guests. We're going to do things a little bit out of the norm here tonight. Normally we wait until this segment, the second segment, but our guest tonight in his 7th NFL season out of the University of California, he is the best quarterback in the business today, Aaron Rodgers. That's better than, I got to tell you, that was, up close. I was a little louder. You probably feel Lambeau Field up close, but I'm behind the glass, and that felt pretty good. I got goosebumps with that crowd applause right there.
Yeah, they're real excited, man, for a good reason. Our quarterback's here. He's a man of his word. He told me to be here, and he's here.
How's it going, Aaron?
It's going good. Going good. I am a man of my word. And you're a lot bigger than me.
Tell you what, Aaron, you have broke and reset already so many records here in your early going, and really all those other records out there are just, in my opinion, just longevity records. You put the time in, and those are all going to belong to you someday.
Well, that's not really why you play the game, but it's fun perks that come with it. It's been a great start to the season. We've gotten off to probably a better start than even we could have imagined with 11 wins and 11 games. The offense started off very hot, and the defense the last few weeks been playing lights out. So it's been very consistent run for us, and we're excited about what the prospects are for us in December and January and hopefully February.
BJ, you go into Detroit on Thanksgiving Day, and it's a big football game, obviously, for you. They're a team that's starting to make a rise, and they're trying to get where you guys are. That's where they want to be, and so it's a big football game, and you guys got to just traded blows for a while, and eventually you kind of warmed down a little bit.
Yeah, Detroit, is a very physical football team. They definitely posed some threats for us. It was a big game in the sense that it was a division game, and those guys aren't too far behind us in the chase. But I think ultimately around here, my tenure here, we've been playing in a lot of big games, so I think everybody kind of approached it the same. We knew we'd have a bigger audience than normal, but ultimately I think that we're all used to playing in big games and having success in them.
A lot of things that happened in that football game, and I guess we'll start off with the one that's being talked about the most, and that's Ndamukong Suh, who is facing likely a suspension, and there's been some reports out already that say that he's looking at probably at least 2 games. We'll see how that unfolds as the week goes along, but I'll have both you guys kind of take us back through what happened and give me your thoughts. Aaron, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I didn't get a good view of the play. I was actually carrying out my fake. I saw that something was going on there. I turned around and didn't catch any of it, but I can tell you it was a little bit chippy. I know they were taking some shots at me, maybe after the whistle. That's kind of the way they play at different times. But I think the things that strike you about that play is one, that it was an intentional act, and 2, his response I think was surprising. He did the act. A big audience on Thanksgiving watching that game. I think he could have owned up to it maybe in his post game and just said, hey, I made a mistake in the heat of the battle. I apologize about it. I let the emotions get the best of me. But instead, as you guys have probably seen, I think he was, trying to change history there a little bit, and that probably is going to lead to maybe a bigger suspension than he would have got.
BJ, I think at that time, once you commit the act, don't you want to kind of fall on the sword and as Aaron said, kind of apologize, and maybe the league will look it upon themselves to go a little lighter on you?
Yeah, exactly. I could agree with Aaron, but just being in Sue's situation, playing the same position, I was talking to Aaron earlier and telling him how everything except for the kick, I could tolerate, and obviously the failure to own up to what he did, but I mean the whole play wasn't bad, because I mean offensive linemen, they can get chippy, and things can get chippy down between the whistles, but I think ultimately the kick was unnecessary, and obviously in his approach after the game was horrible.
You guys know how much of a good of a receiver Calvin Johnson is. Talk about, BJ, the job that Tramon Williams did on him.
Tramon's an outstanding player. We have confidence in Tramon. Obviously we don't want to leave him singled up on Calvin all day, because Calvin's an explosive player, but at times he was singled up and he held his own. But I think ultimately the game plan coming into that game was, you have to kind of double team Calvin at times, and if the front seven can hold up the run, because obviously if they see us in two safeties deep, they're going to try to run the ball some, because there's less people in the box. For you guys that don't know much about football, but to make a long story short, I just think ultimately the front seven, along with the coverage, played together.
All right. Give us a rundown of the Packers lost both their middle linebackers during the game with calf strains, and Desmond Bishop and A.J. Hawk. So DJ Smith and Robert Francois, who we had on this very same stage a few weeks back, they both came to the rescue, and not only did they come in and play, but they had to play without the communication devices in the helmets. Once you basically lose one, it's not like you pull them out and put them in another helmet. So Packers were doing what? Hand signals, yelling?
Hand signals, and just things we kind of go over every week. But you got to give those guys credit, because in practice, those guys, majority of their reps are towards helping Aaron and the offense get prepared each week, and so they take a limited amount of reps in our defensive snaps. So for those guys to be in tune with the scheme and understanding that we needed them at that time, for them to come in, have a great impact on the game. I mean, sometimes they give those guys credit.
All right, we'll come back and we'll get more caught up with Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers quarterback, BJ Raji. We are live at Tanner's. Back with more after this in the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And we are back. Transportation for our guest is brought to you by L&S Classic Limousine Service. Personal professional service for all occasions. Call Lenny or Sue at 800-830-5933 for your reservation. We continue with BJ Raji and Aaron Rodgers on the program. 33 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions so far this season with 5 left to play. Just incredible numbers. Nobody likes to turn the ball over as an offensive player, especially a quarterback. I just get the feeling that you hate it even more than most people.
I do. It's frustrating when you're, when you're supposed to take care of the football, you get to touch every play, and if you make a mistake and throw a pick or fumble the ball, those are frustrating, because you have a direct impact on the game. And as you see, when we're not turning the ball over, we're tough to beat. We got a defense that can stop teams and give us turnovers, and if we're taking care of the football, we're going to be tough to beat.
All right. Now, somebody said, a lot of people say, well, Aaron Rodgers really, he takes care of the ball, he checks down. Mike McCarthy's had several compliments towards you. In almost every other press conference that he does, it says Aaron is not afraid to check down and take the short play. He's not bored with that play, and that's what makes him as successful as it is. And it's probably a pretty accurate way. And then to describe this scenario, and then all of a sudden, as soon as you kind of get the defense coming your way, boom, then something else opens up.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to force the ball into coverage. I like to go through my progression and look for the matchups that are in our favor. But to say I take the check down a lot, I think is maybe a disservice to the way I play quarterback, because we are averaging a pretty good clip per attempt, and we've had a number of touchdowns outside the red zone through the passing game, another one on Thursday. So we take shots when they're there, and when they're not there, just whether throw it away or dump it off to a back.
I want to take that one step further, because sometimes I think a lot of people say you'll throw it away, and you do, but I think you're so darn accurate that sometimes you find a way to weave the ball in there, and the receiver's got such great hands that there are a lot of plays that you make that I'm not sure the average quarterback makes out there.
Well, I like to move in the pocket when I have time, and when I'm going through my progressions and have to get flushed, I like to be a pass-first guy outside the pocket. I think those are the most dangerous quarterbacks. If you're able to keep your eyes down the field and hope your receiver makes a second reaction and get it to him before you cross the line, that's when you're most dangerous. And at last second, I'll pull it down occasionally and run it, and I've been better at sliding this year.
Yes, you have. You've oftentimes talked about the chip that you have on your shoulder for having been overlooked all the way back to high school, into junior college, and all the way up. And yet you've got such a competitive drive, maybe nothing would be different. But I want to ask you, do you think you'd be as good today if you weren't overlooked all the way up?
Not a chance. Not a chance. That has been my story, and that's what drives me. I was never a top quarterback coming out. I remember looking at these lists online back when I was in high school, and it'd have the top 100 quarterbacks in California, and my name was nowhere on that list. So, it's stuff like that drove me to be better. That's why I woke up at 6 in the morning, would work out before school, and that's why I spent so much time watching film in college, and when other guys were relaxing, playing video games and stuff, I was hanging out with coach, watching film, being prepared for the next game, and knowing that when I got an opportunity, I had to make the most of it. So it's been that chip on my shoulder, and listening to those doubters, but never believing what they're saying, that's kind of spurred me on to be the kind of player I am today.
And I'm sure there's still, you can see that there's so much more that can be done, that it's probably fairly easy to keep up not only that attitude, but the hard work.
No, there's always a challenge, and I'm always looking for the next challenge, and this year is being more consistent than I have in the past. Knowing that I have a important role on this team, it's no more important than any other player, or I don't want to make myself bigger than the team, but I know that I have a direct impact on every play, and if I play consistently and don't turn the ball over and make good decisions at the line of scrimmage, then we have a better chance of winning.
Well, and that's one of the points, and I don't know if everybody out here realizes that, and you've made, you don't make a strong point of that. You kind of just do it. You do it with your actions. BJ, I guess when you see Aaron's by his locker, in the locker room on a daily basis, even when the media is in there, he doesn't shy away from that stuff. He doesn't shower in a different room. He doesn't hold his press conferences in a media tour, in the media auditorium, like I'm talking about, like the last guy,
right.
And with all respect, Aaron Rodgers, when he says he wants to be a part of the team, he's a part of the team. Is that the way you see it?
Oh, definitely. From the day that I arrived in Green Bay, Aaron was more than helpful. Just encouraging words. Him being a former first-round pick, he was able, to help me, kind of what to expect around here, and he was all about winning from the day I met him. I always tell people I was very fortunate. You don't typically, when a team's drafted in the top 10, a Green Bay Packer team, or any team for that matter, isn't as talented as what this team was, before I got here. So, with myself and Clay getting here, he kind of showed us the way, and he's been one of the reasons we're so successful.
When you were knocked out of the game against the Lions last time with a concussion, and then the next week you couldn't play, Packers lost a tight one. Matt Flynn played a real good game and almost knocked off New England, but you went into those last two and you needed a little help, and you got it. And the rest is history, all the way to the Super Bowl. But when you were going through that stage, tell me what you're thinking.
It was tough because I love being around the guys. I love the locker room chatter, the jokes, the pranks. Just being with the guys every day is what kind of gets me through the tough, monotonous meetings. And it was tough to have to go home and not be around them for a couple days. At the same time, it's kind of like a bye week for me to get get refreshed, and I just wanted to make the most of my opportunities from there on in, and I think that gave me a good perspective on how blessed we are to play this game and what a privilege it is. Not, it's a privilege to play this league. It's a privilege to play for the Green Bay Packers, and I just didn't want to take it for granted from there on in. So I enjoyed on that Sunday we were playing the Patriots. Enjoyed watching Deshaun Jackson run that punt back for a touchdown, because I knew, regardless of what happened that night, that if we won our last two, we were in. And once we got in, anything can happen. And we got in, and just played 3 great playoff games on the road and got to the Super Bowl, and there's no way we're going to get denied.
That's for sure. Like Aaron said, I think the mentality around the team was, it's tough. Once the playoffs start, that was my second year in going into the playoffs. But we had to actually have that mindset, 2 games before that. So I think the playoffs in our mind started before playoffs and everyone else mind started, and I think that's kind of what propelled us. We were able to go on the road and just play sound football. I think defensively, where we take the ball away and take away the team's best weapon, and we got the best weapon in the league, in my opinion. So as long as we didn't mess it up, we're gonna be pretty good.
So you played technically with your backs against the wall last year. Your backs aren't going to be against the wall this year. What's different? How do you handle that part?
I think that's a new challenge. We're in position right now to be the top seed, which means that the Super Bowl goes through us. So we have an opportunity to hold serve, if you will, at home, and it's tough to play in Lambeau Field in the wintertime. Teams don't like it. You talk to other guys on their teams. It's it's a tough trip and a tough crowd and tough environment. We live in it. We're not from, most of the players here are not from the Midwest or not from Wisconsin, but I think we're better at dealing with it because we live in it, and we have that mindset that we're not going to let the elements. We're going to use the elements to our advantage. We have a home crowd, so I think it's exciting for us knowing that we're going to have opportunity to play a home playoff game, and knowing that if we take care of business here the last 5 weeks, that we're 2 games away from the Super Bowl.
All right. It's Aaron Rodgers. BJ Raji will continue from Tanner's and Kimberly. Don't forget our Granite Peak email segment's coming up in about 15 minutes from right now. Chance to win a 2-night ski package for 2 to Granite Peak in Wausau. Go to InTheHuddleShow.com. Back with more from Tanner's in Kimberly after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And we are back. In the Huddle continues from Tanner's and Kimberly. Well, just a nice little heated argument up here during the break between Aaron and BJ about the college football landscape, and I'll let you guys just briefly kind of make your point. In effect, you're not a big playoff proponent, BJ, and Aaron is.
I don't know about that. I don't see how it would work. I think bowl games are a lot of times about money. You know what I mean? And you got the Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl. Those schools, it's hard to tell, a BCS qualifying school, hey, we want to relinquish a $14 million payout, just so we can have a more entertaining, playoff system.
You're not understanding it. It's not about relinquishing that. There'd be so much more money. Eliminate the conference championship games, because I think it does, why should LSU, who ran the table, have to now play another extra game just getting the championship, where Alabama's waiting, not going to be a conference champion, waiting to face a team in the championship game. Eliminate the conference championship games. You have at least 2.5 to 3 weeks before any bowl game starts after this next weekend, and pare it down. Those games individually, if you go 16 or 32, those will be huge money games, and the networks will be killing to televise those games. Then we get down to 4, then those will be BCS games. The losers bracket of the 8, those can be BCS games, and then have a championship game.
So let me ask you this: they're gonna clap for you regardless. But seriously, like a team like Georgia, you go through the SEC, you miss the big 3 in the regular season: LSU, Alabama, and Arkansas. You say you're going undefeated, so you're deserving. You're deserving of being that.
No, you're exactly right. So they shouldn't. But that's why you need a playoff system.
No, my idea was for the conference championship games. Like, you need that though, because now they're finally going to play LSU. The best team in the SEC.
Well,
In my,
you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
That's a great point.
In my whole point to try to wrap it up, and I'm not sure I got anywhere, but if the Green Bay, if the bowl system were in the NFL, a playoff system were in the NFL, just like what we're asking for in college football, the Green Bay Packers, if you just took the two best teams and played for a national championship, Green Bay Packers wouldn't have won a Super Bowl last year, right?
Not necessarily. Because we were preseason, we were the NFC pick to win that. To win it,
they would have never
injuries.
They would have never let you
Huh?
under the college format. They would have never let you in the Super Bowl.
Okay, Bill. I mean, you have a point, but like it wasn't like we came out of nowhere. Like we just some unfortunate injuries, and you know what? Next topic.
All right, let's go over the development of just a couple players. One guy that really has climbed to the forefront, who's maybe looking at a Pro Bowl this year, is Jordy Nelson. And you two have really, as Jordy's worked and you've continued to work and both developed, have really found a pretty good combination going there.
Yeah, we do. You know, it's fun to get Jordy more involved. I just love the way he plays. He sees the game through the eyes of a quarterback, I think. He understands timing, spacing. He's incredible at second reactions. We made a number of plays this year where I'm coming out of the pocket or got to take a second hitch, and he's making the proper adjustment to his route to get open. And then not to mention when you just give him the ball in space, he's had a couple big-time catch and runs that look real good on the stat sheet where you throw a ball 20 yards and ends up being a 80-yard touchdown or a 93-yard touchdown. He just has deceptive speed, incredible intelligence, and he works at his craft. I think that's what you got to give him a lot of credit for. He works in practice, and he puts the time in. He's had a great season.
I'm sure you know what the number is, but just in case the fans need a little reminder, 14 different players now have caught passes this season from Aaron Rodgers, and that is an incredible number.
You got to get BJ to catch one.
It's outstanding. There you go.
Well, you got him on the offensive side of the ball now, so
yeah.
Did you? What happened on that play in the game? We had you in the game. We faked the handoff. I rolled out to the right, and I saw a little clip. Your head wasn't around. I probably could have thrown it to you.
Funny guy, man. The play wasn't.
I was looking. I threw it in the back end of the coreless, but if you maybe had turned and just kind of shuffled out a little bit, I might have been able to stick it in your belly.
You know what? I guess you learn from your mistakes. You learn from your mistakes. Nah, but you know that play wasn't in for me. I was exactly a decoy. Right. I was a decoy.
He was a decoy. He was.
But I was still having a good time.
You're a heck of a.
He's a little sensitive.
You're a heck of a decoy.
Me?
Yeah.
I do what I can, man. I think that we've run almost every version of that play. I think.
Except throw to you.
Huh?
Except throw to you.
Do some lobbying for me.
I
will.
Well, it could be just a matter of time. I mean, you run for a touchdown. I mean, you've run for a touchdown. You've picked off a pass and returned it for a touchdown in one of the biggest games since this, against the Chicago Bears in the NFC Championship.
Right.
I mean, you're a touchdown pass away, man.
You know what? I don't make those decisions. At the end of the day, I'm going to do what I'm asked to do, and I just feel honored that Coach McCarthy gave me an opportunity. I mean, he could have picked anybody for that role, but
nah, he couldn't have.
Huh?
Could have picked somebody with some athleticism and some girth to him.
I just leave it at that. I thank my coach.
Aaron, he is one of the most humble people I think I've ever met. He doesn't like to, you try to say good things about him, and he kind of shies away, doesn't he?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that the voters got it wrong last year. He had a Pro Bowl season last year. He should have been voted in.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm not done. If you look at our scheme, I mean, it's not set up for a guy like BJ to have 10 sacks or 30 TFLs, tackles for loss. But I'll tell you what, if you ask the offensive linemen that play against him, there's not a better guy at holding the point of attack. There's not a better guy who's going to push the pocket and do what he's supposed to do. This guy should be in the Pro Bowl. I'm going to encourage you guys to go out and vote for him because, as you know, it's 1/3 fan voting, 1/3 players, and 1/3 coaches. So I'm hoping that the coaches and the players do what they're supposed to do. But fans, get out and vote for this guy because he should be in the Pro Bowl.
Thank you. And to kind of piggyback what he said, I don't know how you missed the Pro Bowl last year, but
We got that Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're right. And you'll definitely be there this year, so I'm not worried about that.
Discount double take.
Yeah, that was some commercial, huh?
Check.
That's pretty.
Double check.
That's pretty good stuff.
Where was that shot at?
That was actually right on Broadway in downtown Green Bay.
Whoa, that's nice.
A lot of fun. That was a pretty good response, guys. You guys razzed me a little bit in the locker room, but yeah, that was a lot of fun to film, and a lot of people. I actually saw a sign. What did it say? It had a picture of Sue with a belt on. I think it said "Discount Double Check" in the Lions Stadium. But
that's funny.
But yeah,
that's the one that's getting. Obviously, everybody loves it. Everybody's doing the double check. You know.
Yes.
I don't do it as well.
BJ did
It's not a moment made for radio, but but you've got the Associated Bank ad. You've got the the Ford truck ad.
Yes.
Although I hear that there are a couple of people who said that they give you a little business because you had to wear your number on your shirt when you did the ad.
Well, they
Like
kind of
they didn't-
razzed me about maybe what I was driving before the Ford commercial.
What were you driving before the Ford
I don't know.
commercial?
Ford, probably.
Is that something you really enjoy? I mean, is there are we looking at the birth of a?
Anybody who kind of really knows my personality, I'm a little uncomfortable being the center of attention. I'm not big on the fame and the spotlight, but I do enjoy the opportunity to work with the companies I'm working with, and to be on those shoots has been pretty fun for me to see how these real actors and real producers and people know what they're doing act, in their environment, and it's fun to get some pointers on how to sound a little bit better. Although really only one of those commercials showed off my acting prowess.
Well, I'll tell you what, we certainly enjoy it, and we enjoy everything you do. We're going to let you get out of here early tonight. We appreciate you coming out and helping us out, and best of luck to you not only this season, but for the rest of your great career.
Thanks a lot. Thank you to the fans.
Thanks for coming out, bro.
Aaron Rodgers will be back with more in the Huddle after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And we are back. Good to have you along here on this Monday night. The Packers now 11-0 and just 5 games left. And BJ, all 5 are on Sundays now, so you kind of get back onto a routine again.
Yeah, definitely. Playing on holidays on like a Thursday is definitely special. Even Monday nights, especially at home, a night game on Monday nights, definitely exciting for the city of Green Bay, and we got one of those coming up. But ultimately, I think football wants to be played on Sunday, and I'm happy that we're back on Sundays.
Yeah, you get back in a little routine every 7 days. I mean, there's not 3 days. 3 games in 11 days had to be pretty taxing.
It was definitely taxing, but if you ask any football player, you'd rather be playing games than practicing anyway. You know what I mean? So, after, that's why it was nice for us to have this little break off after, the Thursday. We had a couple of days off because, players like to play, and ultimately, practice is a part of getting better, but ultimately you want to be out there in the field.
All right, it's time now for our email segment. Granite Peak Ski Area is gearing up for an incredible season. Snowmaking is in full force this week. With the holidays coming, give the gift of winter. Granite Peak gift cards make the perfect gift. Gift that keeps on giving. Visit granitepeak.com for make that skigranitepeak.com for a complete list of hours, prices, and packages. John Wani writes my ads for me here, and he said, no problem, no brainer, you'll get that one easy. Then I messed up the first one, so.
Johnny was wrong.
All right, no, well, it's not his fault, it's my fault. All right, let's go out to Justin. It's time now for our email segment.
All right, we got a few questions here for BJ tonight. We'll start with this one from Vicky in Appleton. If a Packer player is ejected from the game, what would be worse, the fine or the talk they would get from Coach McCarthy?
Well, before you answer that, the Packers did have an ejection on Thanksgiving Day.
Definitely.
In Pat Lee, so.
Depending on the situation and how you handle it after. But I would think just naturally, because Coach McCarthy, he's a cool dude. If if there's a severe punishment that's in place, or I think he would just to let you know like this is what's going to happen, but like you're not going to lose favor with me or anything, but this is what has to happen. So I would have to say the fine. It's definitely going to be worse because Coach McCarthy does a good job with. We had some in my tenure here. We had some incidents off the field with different players, and those guys still had a chance to excel in the program. So I don't think he kind of holds one thing over your head.
When a player gets ejected from a game, say early third quarter, does he lose? Does he not get paid for those quarters that he was not there?
That I don't know, but I do know that we have a handbook that has fines and everything. I think if you get ejected from a game, the organization has the right to fine you. I think it's like 17 grand or so that's just a substantial amount of money for doing something like that. And this is not even counting the league's fine. This is just coming from your own team.
Right.
17,000.
Okay.
All right, we'll get to the next question here from Nancy in Little Chute. BJ, have you started your Christmas shopping yet?
You know what? Nowadays, man, just because of my location and who I'm buying for, I'm doing a lot of online shopping, but it has started, and it was a lot more. It was much more fun when I was getting presents and having to buy some.
So, you're probably buying all the presents right now, right?
Let's just say a lot of people are looking for a lot of presents, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. But just like anyone else, probably your immediate family, maybe some close friends, but the line has to be drawn somewhere.
Were you a big Cyber Monday guy today?
Excuse me?
Cyber Monday?
What's that?
All right.
Sci-Fi Channel or something like that?
This is not because I'm too old now. Were you did you leave the house this weekend or what?
I did, yes, but what's Cyber Monday?
Cyber Monday, you order today's the biggest day of online shopping for the holiday season.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew it Black Friday, but there's no way I was getting up that early to do some shopping. But Cyber Monday, hindsight's always 20/20, Bill. I would appreciate the heads up Saturday or Sunday.
You got 5 hours. You still got 5 hours?
Yeah, you still have 5 hours when you leave here tonight.
You know what?
And I'll remind you next year plenty early.
You're too kind, man.
I do want. What's the most outrageous gift request you've got? If you can take us there.
Wow. Okay. Someone, one of my family members, they were going through a rough time, and I haven't seen this guy, mind you, probably since I was elementary school, middle school, and he asked me to get him a place to stay, like in New York City. Basically he asked me, can I pay his rent for a couple years? I just looked at him I said, what? I said, you're a grown man here, those type of gifts I can't do, but if you need something, a little much smaller, then I could probably help you.
So he came up to you and just,
He didn't come up to me, he got in contact with me, and I obviously knew who the person was, and he told me a situation, which was sad, and I really felt for him, but that was a pretty substantial, request, so I couldn't do that.
At least it wasn't a text message or something like that.
No, he had more sense than that.
All right, we'll get to one more question here. This one is from Bob in Madison. BJ, just kind of take us through what it's like being a teammate of a player with all the hoop around him, like Aaron Rodgers.
I think when you're playing football at this level, I think you start with you kind of worry about your side of the ball. Just so happens Aaron's on the offensive side, so. When we're at work, besides practice, we don't really interact as much because we're different sides of the ball. But just watching him how he handles things, he's one of those players. And actually, me, Aaron, and Clay have the same agent, so I kind of knew, know more intricate things. But I think ultimately, Aaron carries himself well, and he represents the Packers in the athletic organization as well.
All right, thanks for the questions. That's our email segment. I'd like to welcome everybody throughout the state of Wisconsin listening tonight on the Woodward Radio Network. We'll be back to announce our ski package winner at Granite Peak. Pause here, back with more from Tanner's after this on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And we are back here at Tanner's Sports Bar and Grill in Kimberly with BJ Raji. I'm Bill Scott. Good to have you along as we head into our last segment. And it's time now to announce our Granite Peak email winner. And let's head back out to Justin Hull.
All right, Nancy in Little Chute, she had the question about the Christmas shopping, so we'll go ahead and hook Nancy up with the ski package.
All right, congratulations, Nancy. And before I run out of time, I do want to make sure that we thank you for having Aaron come out and for him obviously doing so. It's great to have him. He is such a great person, but such a great player.
Right.
And you can kind of tell that he's a little bashful, talking a lot about himself, even though there's so many things to talk about. But he's got a great story, and I honestly, I hope he writes a book someday or has somebody write a book for him, and because there's a lot of things that you may be wary of, and there's a lot of things that you're not, the general public isn't aware of, and I think it would be a pretty good seller and very interesting. So. Yeah,
well, Aaron, to be a great leader, and to win as many games as we're winning, and we're young. He's a young quarterback, so I like to think he'll be doing this for a while. So the fact that he's carrying himself the way he is now and very humble, I think will allow him to continue his success because he understands that he has to continue to work. But ultimately, it's a joy to watch him, and I'm fortunate to be a part of this team.
Yeah, I think he's got good 10, 12 years left in him yet.
I hope so, and I hope I'm here or wherever I'm at. I hope I'm here. Just this guy, he's a treat to watch. We talked about how he takes care of the football, but ultimately he's a great leader. We trust him, and we're obviously looking forward to the future.
Speaking of guys that, and this is totally on a different subject, but we're talking about Ryan Pickett. You went to Ryan's for Thanksgiving, and I remember I don't know, have you watched the film of the game yet?
No, we haven't. Tomorrow's actually like a Monday, so we're going to go in, work out and watch the film.
When you watch film, do they have the good and the bad, or the bad and the good, or a little bit of both? Or?
Well, defense Dom, what he'll do is we'll come in, he'll give his few words of what he thought about the game, and he'll bring up the formations and the percentages. Let's say ace, if they had 10 plays of ace, if it was 5 runs or 5 passes, and if we won the play, a running play, if it's more than 4 or more yards, that's considered a loss for us. Mm-hmm. So, if let's say they got 5 yards, that's a loss. So he does the percentages from each formation, each play, and then he goes over, what we need to do better, and then he goes on to the positives, and ultimately we break up into positions and watch the film as a group.
Yeah. Well, when you watch that film, there were a couple of plays. One, it was amazing the cat-like quickness he had in making a tackle for a loss in the backfield of a running back.
Right.
And then there was one where he jumped up and tried to bat a ball down. He just missed it. And then he circled back, hustled downfield, and made the tackle for the back that was out of the backfield. Just incredible. I mean, for a man that big to be as athletic as he is. And when you look at Ryan, I don't think he gets enough credit for that.
Definitely. Just just coming in, me being in this organization for a couple years, just seeing, Ryan has a unique ability, for most big guys that most people don't know is, he has athletic feet, and that's the difference between being a good nose tackle like Ryan and, lasting for 11 years and just being a guy that eventually, you're able to get washed to the side. I think Ryan's ability allows him to make plays, and, he's in this point of his career where winning and, opportunity of winning championships is important to him, and he's doing everything in his power to help us.
3:15 kick in New York against the Giants on Sunday. They've kind of fallen on hard times a little bit of late. They play again tonight against New Orleans on the road, which is another tough football game for them, but still a pretty talented football team. Yeah,
definitely. The Giants aren't too far removed of a world championship themselves, and me being from that neck of the woods, I understand. I train with a lot of those guys, OC and Tuck in the offseason, so I know their mentality. And the fact that we're undefeated is not going to, definitely make that any smaller of a game. And I think it's a team that's possibly going to be in the playoffs, like with us. And I think that ultimately they're going to try to knock us off, and we have to be ready.
Kind of a measuring stick, so to speak, at this point in time?
I don't think so. I think the Giants have proven, how many weeks we had that they're a good football team and worthy of a playoff spot. So it's not like, it's some team that's trying to, build a tradition or something like that. They're a championship football team with a championship head coach. They know how to win, and they'll just have to be ready for us.
4-game bulge right now on both the Bears and the Lions with 5 to play.
Okay.
And 2 games 2-game lead over the 49ers for home field throughout the playoffs. So there's still a couple of notches that the Packers are looking to acquire in their belts, but you're sitting in pretty good shape.
Definitely. Anytime you can be heading to the start of December with, a win away or so, I believe, of clinching a playoff spot, that's fantastic, especially coming off of a hard-fought Super Bowl and a longer off season without the opportunity to get in there and get with the guys. For us to be sitting this early, I mean, it's not indicative of where we're going, but I think right now, it's indicative of how hard we've worked to this point.
Now, looking ahead, if the Packers are still unbeaten, say weeks 16 and 17, final 2 weeks, how do you think that's going to play out? If you guys have everything wrapped up,
just knowing Coach McCarthy, who we're going to play, and I don't know how much he would play, you know, but depending on the situation, but we're going to play. Most of the starters will play. It might be a few exceptions. I couldn't tell you about that, but ultimately he wants to win, and history has shown us that the teams that play the games throughout generally have the advantage going into the playoffs.
All right, have a good week. Good luck. We'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks to Aaron Rodgers as well. That'll do it for tonight from Tanner's and Kimberly. Back next week on the Woodward Radio Network.